Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a clue about what sacrificing everything really means. Because you have to see that the ad here, that's the ad that Nike has purchased with Kaepernick. So he tweeted about it on his Twitter. It's an image in black and white of his face, and it states, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." So we can first address the nature of this ad. So it refers to the fact that he's not been employed since he's been kneeling, because Colin Kaepernick has started this protest while he was becoming a free agent. And so at this point, if there's not an NFL team that wants to hire him, and this has been tweeted about by the President Trump, so it's hard for him to get a job. So some people will point out also that he's not a particularly good football player, so he would have been a second-rank quarterback, from my understanding. I know nothing about football, so don't quote me on this, but some people raise this. So it puts Kaepernick in the role of a victim. So he's presenting, well, I just stood for my IDs and I lost everything. Well, Kaepernick didn't lose everything. If anything, he's making more money right now than anything he's done in the NFL and anything he could have done in the NFL. So it's a kind of misdirected and misleading message. Kaepernick didn't lose everything. This guy is as privileged as can be. He is a privilege of the non-privileged. As Fox puts it, a privilege of those who keep calling out others for privilege. So that's why Fox News says he doesn't know what it is to sacrifice everything, and they bring the question of the military and the kind of imposed respect for military that exists. And by the way, just so you know, if you're an American, this exists in very few countries. America is one of the few countries where people are so strong on this idea that you need to respect the military. And so if you are one of these guys who get triggered, please leave this show. You're going to hate what I say. I don't give a shit about respect to the military. And here are my ideas, and you can disagree. But I'm not into this culture of standing up in the plane to applaud when a military enters the plane. I'm not in this culture of standing up even for national hymn that honor military people. It's something I rarely talk about, so it might surprise you. I don't give a shit. Military people are going for a job. Okay? They have the right to do that job. I don't say fuck the military, but I say you're not entitled to my respect. Secondly, the American military is a tool of intervention for Israel. At this point, everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. For 60 years, there is not a single American life that wasn't lost for the benefit of Israel. So at this point, if you enter the military, I don't care if you're an 80 IQ, 18 years old, you should know. And if you don't know, you have not done enough research about your job. So as far as I'm concerned, criticizing the military, and there's this division in the American mind, okay, where they say, oh, well, you need to criticize the leadership, you need to criticize the politicians, but not the military. Well, there is a point at which the guy who does the low job of the mafia, at some point you're going to tell him, all right, you knew what you were going to do when you got hired by the mafia. So you knew you were going to commit murders. And at some point you would put the moral responsibility not just on the leadership, but at the base level. I think we've reached that point. And I've always been like this. I've never stood up in a plane for military personnel entering. I never stood up in these national anthem things. I consider that if you are entering the military in 2018, you are doing so with full knowledge that you will participate to murders across this world for the benefit of another nation. And because there is a law of silence, there is an omerta on this whole thing, because people like me get ridiculed and people like me get told, JF, don't say that, we can't advance in this. We can't explain to the young people of this country, your military is cucked. And by joining the military, you are cucking yourself and your own country. I think it's important that this discourse become regularized in America. So I'm sorry if it hurts you, but that is my position. So the military respect argument, I put it aside. Not a good argument. You're not entitled to your activities of murder and international interventions and imposing things on other nations. You are not entitled to a protection. I will criticize you, and the badge of military that you have is not a shield against criticism. Now, Nike decided, and that's something that should hurt Americans much more than a symbolic kneeling in your national anthem. It's when one of your own companies tells you, we don't give a shit about how much trouble this will lead to. We don't even need American customers anymore.